Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya. Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirviseshasha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are continuing to read our ongoing study of Bhagavad Gita, and we are reading from chapter 2, text 54. Would somebody like to read the Sanskrit?
I can read.
Okay.
Arjun Uvacha Sthita Pragyasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava Sthitadhi kim prabhasheta kim asita vrajeta kim.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk? So Arjuna wanted to know how does a person who's a devotee, who's in Krishna consciousness, how does he behave? So how could he recognize someone? So as there are symptoms for each and every man in terms of his particular situation, similarly, one who is in Krishna conscious, one who is Krishna conscious has his particular nature, talking, walking, thinking, feeling, etc. As a rich man has his symptoms by which he is known as a rich man. As a diseased man has his symptoms by which he is known as diseased, or as a learned man has his symptoms. So a man in transcendental consciousness of Krishna has specific symptoms in various dealings. So Arjuna is asking this question is for our benefit also, so that we can recognize who's a pure devotee. And so we can hear from him, because we are always advised to hear from the pure devotees. Most important is how the man in Krishna consciousness speaks. For speech is the most important quality of any man. It is said that a fool is undiscovered as long as he does not speak. And certainly a well-dressed fool cannot be identified unless he speaks. But as soon as he speaks, he reveals himself at once. So it's a point, it's something to consider, self-evaluation. We are always talking, we have this urge to speak. And what are we speaking about? What is it that our tongue is vibrating always? And Krishna is saying that what we speak, that's how we will be considered. We reveal ourselves when we speak. The immediate symptom of a Krishna conscious man is that he speaks only of Krishna and of matters relating to him. Other symptoms then automatically follow, as stated below. So if we are hearing, so how to recognize if a person is Krishna conscious, like is this a bona fide representative of Krishna? Is this really a guru? If he is, coming in the parampara, and does he always speak about Krishna or no? That's one of the symptoms. So reading text 55, would somebody like to read the Sanskrit?
Fine.
Yes? Anybody wants to read?
I can read.
Okay.
Shri Bhagavan Uvaja Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Partha Manogatan Atmanyeva Atmana Tushta Sita Pragyastada Uchyate.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So it's Krishna uses such specific words. So he's saying, Parth means he's calling Arjuna because he's the son of Pritha. Pritha is another name for Kunti Maharani. So he's saying when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction. So all these desires that we have to enjoy our senses, they are just coming from our mind. We are imagining that these things are going to make us happy. You know, it's mental concoction, Krishna is saying. That's why we get all these desires. Oh, if I go here, I will get happy. I will do this, I will get happy. Not related to Krishna, for just personal sense gratification. And when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self. So instead of the mind going here and there searching, I'll be happy if I look at this, I'll be happy if I hear this, I'll be happy if I hear that. If we just bring the mind to ourselves, who am I? I am a spirit soul, pure devotee of Krishna. And if we find happiness in that, then that is pure transcendental consciousness. The Bhagavatam affirms that any person who is fully in Krishna consciousness or devotional service of the Lord has all the good qualities of the great sages, whereas a person who is not so transcendentally situated has no good qualifications because he is sure to be taking refuge in his own mental concoctions. Here, Prabhupada is saying that most of us, if we are not fully Krishna conscious, then we are on the mental platform, you know. But we are so convinced that what we are thinking is correct because I think so, I said so, I saw like this, I thought like this, and how with so much conviction we are even willing to, you know, argue with others on that basis. So it's something to consider, no? That is what I'm thinking, what I'm saying, is that true or is just an imagination? Consequently, it is rightly said herein that one has to give up all kinds of sense desire manufactured by mental concoctions. Artificially, such sense desires cannot be stopped. But if one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, then automatically sense desires subside without extraneous efforts. Because the eyes have to see something. We can't just close the eyes and say, okay, I'm not going to see anything. We have to speak. You know, it's a natural urge to speak. If we say, no, I'm not going to speak for 1 year, then we'll start texting each other, you know. Or hear, we always want to hear, what happened, let me hear, what happened, where did you go today, what did you see, tell me. So the senses, they can't be just stopped like that, but we can engage the senses. Our disease is that we want to use the senses for our enjoyment. We think that the senses belong to us, so I'm going to use them in any way that I like. Something that's going to give me pleasure, I will use it that way. Sure, there is pleasure, not that there isn't, but that pleasure is very small. We endeavor, the effort we put in to get that pleasure is very little compared to the energy that it is put in, and it is short-lived. You know, if we want to eat something, how much can we eat? Our stomach gets full. What is our capacity? You know, then we don't want to do it anymore. We'll say, okay, now leave it. I'm very full now. But Krishna consciousness, when we engage our senses to see the deity form of the Lord, to hear about Krishna, hear about his pastimes. The more we hear about Krishna, the more we want to hear about him. If we are hearing about some materialistic person, like somebody who's famous, some famous personality, a politician or a film star or something, how much can we hear about them? There'll be a limit. We can't be like hearing about the same person for years and years every day. But where Krishna is concerned, every morning we wake up to hear Bhagavatam. Let's hear what we will. Let's see what we are going to hear today. Because Krishna is like that. He's unlimited. So when we connect ourselves to Krishna with our senses, we feel unlimited bliss also. Well, not unlimited. We are not unlimited. Krishna is unlimited. So to the degree that we can experience it. So therefore, one has to engage himself in Krishna consciousness without hesitation. For this devotional service will instantly help one onto the platform of transcendental consciousness. The highly developed soul always remains satisfied in himself by realizing himself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. Such a transcendentally situated person has no sense desires resulting from petty materialism. Rather, he remains always happy in his natural position of eternally serving the Supreme Lord. So a pure devotee, because he's situated correctly in his original position, so he doesn't hanker for anything. He doesn't need these temporary material desires. He's just happy because the soul is naturally happy, Satchidananda. And Krishna is the reservoir of all happiness. So when we are truly situated in our true state as an eternal servant of Krishna, engaging in his devotional service, we will always be happy because that's the natural position. Something which comes naturally, it's always happy, pleasurable. We don't have to artificially do anything. It's just so natural. Is that okay? Yes? So then we can go to the next one, 256. Would somebody like to read the Sanskrit?
Anybody wants to read, or I can read?
I'm not sure. Meena, would you like to read? Or is it inconvenient?
Yeah, it's a little inconvenient right now.
That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. So Sheetal, you can read.
Okay.
Thank you.
Dukkeshva anudvigna manaha sukheshu vigata spruha vitaraga bhaya krodha sthita nirujyate.
This is one of the famous verses.
Yes.
One who is not disturbed in mind even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. Now we are at each moment, the miseries are affecting us. What are the miseries? There are three types of miseries. Miseries which are caused by our own body, means we have some disease, physical or mental. So it's either our own body or the mind is causing us some misery. We have a fever, or we have stomach pain or something, or with the mind we have some anxiety, some fear, some unhappiness, like that. So it's either that or misery which is caused by other living entities. Could be a mosquito, could be another person being speaking harsh words or angry words to us. And then the third is miseries which are caused by natural disasters, some things which we can't control, forces of nature, like suddenly too hot, too cold, cyclones, earthquakes, all those things happen. So at every moment, each and every living entity in the material world is affected by either one of the three miseries. So can you imagine? We are always trying to be happy. So the mind tells us, okay, I'm not happy right now. I'm not happy right now because of XYZ reason. What it could be anything. Our mind is very imaginative, can make up things. And then when the situation changes, I'll be happy then. But Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that there is not even one moment that we are not affected by these miseries. So even if we endeavor very hard to change the position, we endeavor very hard to change the place, sure, momentarily we might feel some relief, momentarily, but soon enough, again we'll feel miserable. It's like Prabhupada always gives the example that we are carrying a very heavy bag. Suppose we are carrying it in the left hand. So we are carrying it. Then after some time, we start feeling the weight of it. It becomes very painful. So we shift the weight from the left hand to the right hand. And then immediately we feel a relief. I feel relief. My weight is gone. But soon, not very long after, we will start feeling the weight in the right hand. So when we are always endeavoring to change the position, make our position better, let me go for a travel here, maybe I'll feel better. Maybe let me change my position, then I'll feel happier. It's the same thing. We are just shifting our weight from one hand to another. So momentarily, temporarily, it gives us a sense of relief, which we mistake it as happiness, but it's not happiness in the true sense. We're just changing the weight, you know. So that's the reason what Krishna is saying, have a steady mind. Don't get so affected when there are the miseries, and don't be extra happy when there is, cause for happiness. Why? Because it's going to keep on changing. It's like a season. The season changes. Summer, winter, autumn, spring. The seasons keep changing. If we get so affected with the outside circumstances, our minds are not going to be stable. Our minds will always disturb us, always tell us that, oh, this is not right, this is not right. And Krishna is saying, be free from attachment, fear, and anger. And when we can do this, then we will be called a sage of steady mind. So the word Muni means one who can agitate his mind in various ways for mental speculation, without coming to a factual conclusion. It is said that every Muni has a different angle of vision. And unless a Muni differs from other Munis, he cannot be called a Muni in the strict sense of the term. Nasa Rishi Ryasya Matam Na Bhinnam. Mahabharat Vana Parva 313.117. But a Sthitadir Muni, as mentioned herein by the Lord, is different from an ordinary Muni. Now, Krishna is not telling us to be an ordinary Muni, that we make some mental speculation and bring out a new theory. No, why will Krishna want us to do that? He keeps telling us, don't be on the mental platform. He's the one who keeps saying, control your mind, don't be on the mental platform. So he wants to be a Sthitadir Muni. A Sthitadir Muni is always in Krishna consciousness. For he has exhausted all his business of creative speculation. Means he's already finished his imagination that I'll be happy here if I do this, I'll be happy here if I change my position like this, I'll be happy here if I get this talent, I'll be happy here if I have a newer body, I'll be happy if I eat something. He's finished all that. He's tried and tested. He's done with all that. It's called Prashanta Nihesha Manorathantara Stotra Ratna 43, or one who has surpassed the stage of mental speculations and has come to the conclusion that Lord Sri Krishna or Vasudev is everything. Vasudeva Sarvam Iti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. So he's finished all, he's done with the speculating that maybe this one is God, maybe I'll be happy here. He knows it's just Krishna. He's come to the point of realizing Krishna is everything. He's called a Muni fixed in mind. Such a fully Krishna conscious person is not at all disturbed by the onslaughts of the threefold miseries. Why? Why isn't he disturbed by misery? Because he accepts all miseries as the mercy of the Lord, thinking himself only worthy of more trouble due to his past misdeeds. And he sees that his miseries by the grace of the Lord are minimized to the lowest. So this is how a devotee sees himself. He's not afraid, he's not worried, he's not so much in anxiety when the miseries come. He knows the miseries will come, they'll go, but he sees everything as the mercy of the Lord. If there is somebody who is troubling him, he sees that person as an instrument of Krishna. That, oh, I needed to be suffering more, but Krishna is reducing my suffering. Now, this is a position of a pure devotee. How many of us think that way? How many of us think, oh my God, why is this person being so bad to me? How come he could do this? And then we get angry and we hold grudges. But a pure devotee, he looks as the person who's giving him this misery just as an instrument. That, oh, I would have suffered more because I've done so many bad karma. And this is a pure devotee. So we are this is the goal, kind of. So we have to see where we are and how can we get to the goal. So we were just hearing about Parikshit Maharaj recently in Bhagavatam. We are studying about Parikshit Maharaj and how he didn't get disturbed in mind when he heard that the Shringi has cursed him. He took it as a mercy of the Lord. The same was repeated. The same attitude was repeated, that he didn't think that, oh, why is Shringi putting a curse on me? How could he do that? I'm the emperor of the world, just such a small boy. No, he saw him as an instrument of the Lord. And he was thinking, I'm only worthy of more trouble. Similarly, when he is happy, he gives credit to the Lord, thinking himself unworthy of the happiness. He realizes that it is due only to the Lord's grace that he is in such a comfortable condition and able to render better service to the Lord. Like Arjuna, when he was recounting when he came back to Hastinapur and the Lord had already left the world, and so he was having his conversation with Yudhishthir. He was saying, oh, I could win Draupadi only, it was because of the mercy of the Lord. And it was the Lord who helped us when Durvasa Muni came with his 10,000 disciples for lunch. And he's the one who saved us from the anger of Durvasa Muni by accepting some few remnants. And then he was recollecting that, oh, it was because of the Lord that we could win the Kurukshetra war. Otherwise, our army is so less, so small. And the Kurus are so powerful. How could we win? So that's how a devotee thinks. He realizes that all what he's getting, the happiness that he's getting, is the mercy of the Lord. And then he engages more in the service of the Lord. And for the service of the Lord, he's always daring and active and is not influenced by attachment or aversion. Attachment means accepting things for one's own sense gratification, and detachment is the absence of such sensual attachment. But one fixed in Krishna consciousness has neither attachment nor detachment, because his life is dedicated in the service of the Lord. So attachment, we are so attached to certain things. Why? Because we are comfortable. That's our comfort zone. There are certain foods we are attached to. There are certain places we like to go to. We are attached to them. There are certain friends we are attached to. There's a certain work we are attached to. But somebody who's in Krishna consciousness, his attachment is only service to Krishna. How can I relate everything to Krishna? So his attachment and detachment is not there. He doesn't have either. His only focus, his center is how I can relate whatever I'm doing in the service of Krishna. How can I serve the Lord? Consequently, he's not at all angry, even when his attempts are unsuccessful. Now, how irritated or frustrated do we get, if what we have planned does not come through? How dejected do we get? But a pure devotee, he's not angry. He just continues, success or no success. A Krishna conscious person is always steady in his determination. Always steady. So This is how a Krishna conscious person is, a pure devotee. Like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say, even if there's nobody coming to the temple, you still continue to read the Bhagavad Gita. The four walls are there. They will listen. Doesn't matter. You do your duty. Whether there is no one coming or there's hundreds and thousands of people coming. Don't be bothered with that. You just do. And that is what is the focus of a pure devotee is. Just service to the Lord. Because that's our original position actually. That's our true nature, who we are. And we have to endeavor to reach that position. Slowly, one baby step at a time, whatever level we are at. All of us are at different levels. Whatever level we are at, we shouldn't feel dejected, but one step at a time, because the goal we are being told what's the goal and how we should be. So we can endeavor in that direction. Is that okay? Any thoughts or comments or questions? If no, then we can read the 57th words. Sheetal, would you like to read it?
Yeah. Sarvatra nabi snehas tattatprapya shubhashunam nam vinandati na dveshti tasya pragya pratisthita.
In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. There is always some upheaval in the material world, which may be good or evil. One who is not agitated by such material upheavals, who is unaffected by good and evil, is to be understood to be fixed in Krishna consciousness. So we can see in the material world, we all have this experience that the things are so relative. Things keep changing. Good is there, bad is there. But a pure devotee, his mind is not affected. He's not agitated by it. He's fixed in Krishna. Because his center is Krishna. He's not taking shelter of anything material. That's why he can be so strong. Krishna's lotus feet, that's our foundation. If we can make Krishna's lotus feet our foundation, then nothing that's happening outside is going to bother us. Although things will keep changing outside, there will be sufferings, there will be, that's the nature of the material world. There will be upheavals, but they won't affect us. As long as one is in the material world, there is always the possibility of good and evil, because this world is full of duality. But one who is fixed in Krishna consciousness is not affected by good and evil, because he is simply concerned with Krishna, who is all good, absolute. Such consciousness in Krishna situates one in a perfect transcendental position called technically samadhi. So the outside world, there is going to be causes for happiness. There will be causes for distress. Today I'm happy because some things went my way. Today I'm very sad because things didn't go my way. But a pure devotee, he's not affected. His emotions are not invested in the outside material surrounding. His emotions are only invested with Krishna. So his feelings are only with Krishna. His feeling does not change according to what's happening outside. So that's how he can be so steady. Text 58.
Yada samharate chayam kurmanganiva sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhya tasya pragya pratisthita.
One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise withdraws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. So Krishna is telling here, how can somebody become perfect in consciousness? If they withdraw the senses, because our senses are always attracted to the sense objects. The eyes always want to see something beautiful. The nose always wants to smell. The hands, you know, we always want to touch something, do something. The skin wants to touch. So if we are able to withdraw, then we can be fixed in perfect consciousness. The test of a yogi, devotee, or self-realized soul, that he's able to control the senses according to his plan. Most people, however, are servants of the senses and are thus directed by the dictation of the senses. And then the senses are the one who give us the trouble. You know, like how does a fish get caught? Because a fish sees a worm in the water, and then the fish wants to go get it. As soon as it gets caught in the net. So it's because of the sense of he wanted to eat, because of the tongue. Then similarly, the moth, he sees a light, you know. I don't know if you all have seen that there is a light bulb, and then there's so many moths going around it, and then they go, then they touch the fire and they die. So because they are so attracted by the light, with the eye, they are just so attracted. And then that causes their destruction. And then the deer, he hears, you know, he hears, and it's actually the hunter. The hunter is pretending, but he's just caught up. He can't move, and that's how he gets caught. Or the elephant, how is the elephant caught? They keep a she-elephant there. And in front of the she-elephant, they dig a deep pit and they cover it with straw. And then the elephant gets attracted to the she-elephant. He wants to mate with her. Then immediately as he's going towards her, he falls inside the trap. And that's how he's caught. So our senses, they are the ones who catch us. They are the ones who bind us to this material world. That is the answer to the question as to how the yogi is situated. The senses are compared to venomous serpents. They want to act very loosely and without restriction. The yogi or the devotee must be very strong to control the serpents like a snake charmer. He never allows them to act independently. There are many injunctions in the revealed scriptures. Some of them are do-nots and some of them are do's. Unless one is able to follow the do's and the do-nots, restricting oneself from sense enjoyment, it is not possible to be firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness. So we have to be, the senses, they want to go loose everywhere, but we have to somehow or the other restrict them and engage them in Krishna's service. Use them for the service of Krishna. Our eyes want to see the beautiful deity of Krishna. You know, we want to hear something, hear from Bhagavatam, hear about Krishna's pastimes, hear the kirtan, hear the chanting. In that way, once we are able to do that, then the same senses, these same senses which are otherwise, if not controlled, are like venomous serpents, the same senses can become the source of our greatest bliss. The best example set herein is the tortoise. The tortoise can at any moment wind up its senses and exhibit them again at any time for particular purposes. Similarly, the senses of the Krishna conscious person are used only for some particular purpose in the service of the Lord and are withdrawn otherwise. So that's how a devotee does. If he has no service to do outside, he'll just sit quietly and chant, you know. Arjuna is being taught here to use his senses for the service of the Lord instead of for his own satisfaction. Keeping the senses always in the service of the Lord is the example set by the analogy of the tortoise who keeps the senses within. So we have to continuously endeavor, then it will become automatically. But at our stage, we have to, you know, make that effort. That let me, if I want to speak about something, let me speak about Krishna. Let me chant the holy name. You know, and then the same senses will get the bliss. Any questions or comments or? Anything? No?
Yeah, I
Yes?
had one question.
Yes, please.
So I know that some people have mental disorders which um, restrict them from controlling their senses to some extent. Like, say, like there's this disorder where people cannot control themselves from picking on their skin. So, like, how can those people with such mental disorders deal and control their senses?
But then if it gets to that degree, then they have to go get themselves evaluated, take proper medication, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, for example, if I have a heart disease, I will go to the doctor.
But
so if I have a mental disease, then I need to go to a psychiatrist, get the medication. But the thing is, suppose I'm itching my skin, I can't control to itch my skin, but I can still use my other senses in the service of the Lord.
okay.
Yeah. You know, I can continue to hear about the Lord. I can continue to chant. I can see the deity form. At the same time, continue to itch my skin.
Okay. So, like, it's not a barrier.
I'm sorry?
It's not really a barrier to.
Yeah, there is no barrier to devotional service. There is no barrier. There's nothing material that can stop any living entity to engage in devotional service.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your question.
May I just add something?
Yes, please.
So if a person does have mental, problems, and if they cannot control their senses, yeah, you can. What you can then do is, and if they don't know what they're doing, you can just feed them Krishna Prasad. With
Yeah.
that, then at least they will, have the benefit of. That's why in ISKCON Prasadam is glorified so much, because it can just change you completely. Just give Krishna Prasad.
Yes, so well said. Thank you. Thank you for that input. You know. Yes. So, is that okay, Kyati?
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Meena Auntie.
Okay.
Not at all.
So we'll continue to read 59. Sheetal, would you like to read it?
Yes. विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते.
Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remain. But ceasing such engagements, by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So unless one is transcendentally situated, it is not possible to cease from sense enjoyment. The process of restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulations is something like restricting a diseased person from certain types of eatables. The patient, however, neither likes such restrictions nor loses his taste for eatables. Similarly, sense restriction by some spiritual process like Ashtanga Yoga in the matter of yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyana, etc., is recommended for less intelligent persons who have no better knowledge. So here they are saying that because the yoga process is there, the yoga process is to control the senses. You know, so with that, because they want to control the senses, then they have that yam niyam, the do's, that we should do these things, niyam, we shouldn't do these things, asan, sit properly, pranayam, how do we breathe, then pratyahar, dharana, like then, you know, controlling the mind, dhyan, until unless we come to the samadhi then. So it's a long process. But if we engage in bhakti yoga, immediately we are restricting the senses from doing the bad things and engaging them in the good. It's simultaneous. Simultaneously it's happening. But who has tasted the beauty of the Supreme Lord Krishna in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness no longer has a taste for dead material things. Therefore, restrictions are there for the less intelligent neophytes in the spiritual advancement of life. But such restrictions are only good until one actually has a taste for Krishna consciousness. When one is actually Krishna conscious, he automatically loses his taste for pale things. So a devotee of the Lord automatically only wants to speak about Krishna. They automatically, instead of going to the cinema, will say, I will go to the temple. That becomes automatic. Initially, there might be he might need to say, no, I have to do it. You know, that's the process of Vaidhi Bhakti. Whether we like it or don't, we chant our rounds. Whether we like it or not, we hear. You know, that's the process. And then by doing it gradually, we will come to a point where we will be fixed in our consciousness and we will want to do more and more chanting and more hearing. There will be a point. It starts from following the rules and regulations under the direction of a spiritual master. And then gradually, we will lose our taste for the temporary, artificial, material things. And we will be fixed more and more in Krishna. We'll relish more and more Krishna Katha rather than hearing about other people. Is that okay?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Visham.
You just read a line, how can we taste the beauty of the Lord?
But one who has tasted the beauty of the Lord in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. So, how can a devotee or anybody can taste the beauty of the Lord?
So first, at our stage, we do it as a duty. We do it as a duty because the
which duty exactly? Like chanting
hearing and chanting. So initially at our stage, we hear and chant, worship the deity, remember the Lord, you know, all this as a duty. We do it because we have to do it. Because the acharyas are telling us that this is the way to perfection. And then when we keep doing it, what will happen is we will start relishing these activities, and then we will actually be able to taste the beauty of Krishna. Right now we are so attached to all the material things, we will lose our attachment to those things. And then our attachment will be only with Krishna, and we will taste Krishna's beauty. Then when we are looking at the deity form of the Lord, we'll say, oh my God, you're so beautiful, my Lord. There's no one more beautiful than you.
So can we say that a pure devotee has already tasted the beauty of the Lord?
Yes. Yes, he's tasting the beauty of the Lord. It's continuous. He's relishing more and more.
Okay.
Yes. And so that's the reason if we want to attain perfection also, we also want to become pure devotees, we have to follow the process. Follow what the Acharya is saying.
But there won't be any devotee we can find that who will say that I am a pure devotee.
Yes.
He will consider himself a pure devotee. We will never be able to find such a person. Then how will, I don't know.
You mean how will we hear from them or follow them?
I mean to say, like, there won't be anybody who will be like, stating himself that I am the purest devotee.
Yes.
So how can a devotee how can we say that a devotee has tasted the beauty of the Lord? Because nobody will call himself the pure or the purest devotee, because that's not it's all about not being giving yourself a name that I am the best of all. You cannot do that. Nobody can do that.
That's right.
So how will a person know that yes, he is?
So we can see his activities. A person who is in the high stage of what are his activities? A person who is so much in like bhava stage, who is tasting the beauty of the Lord, he will not waste any moment. Each moment he is engaged in serving the Lord. Each moment he wants to engage. You will know by his activities, you will know by what he's talking. He's only talking about Krishna. He doesn't want to do anything else. He has that great hope that Krishna is going to deliver me. He has that great eagerness to meet Krishna.
That is possible in Kali Yuga?
All forgive. Yes, of course. Of course, it is possible. This is the process of bhakti. This is the process. It begins from Shraddha. It begins from a slight faith that we have. With that slight faith, we start associating with the devotees. We start meeting the devotees. We start hearing from them, association of the devotees. Then with the devotees, what happens? By associating, hearing from them, gradually there will come a time when we will want to take initiation from a guru, bona fide guru, who's coming in the parampara system. Then what he'll do is engage us. Of course, we continue our hearing and chanting. Hearing and chanting already begins, as soon as we associate with the devotees. Then we start hearing and chanting properly. Then what happens is the clearing stage comes. The unwanted material desires which are there in our heart start getting cleared. And if you see what our attachments are, they are mostly, if we analyze our thoughts and our desires, those attachments are lust, greed, anger, envy, illusion, pride. Then that's anartha nivritti. So it keeps getting lesser. The more we hear and chant, the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, that's why it's emphasized so much, because it helps us to remove all these dirty things from the heart. Then we'll come to a point where we are fixed in our devotion to Krishna, where the faith is unshakable then, Then the outside miseries don't affect us. Then we continue our hearing and chanting, associating with the devotees. What will come is we will get ruchi, we will get taste, we'll get taste.
But all this is only by the process of self-realization. Nobody can certify us, or a pure devotee can be certified in such a way. It's just by the way of self-realization. So if I just say that, okay, I just want to have an aim of serving the Lord, and not getting not losing my focus on achieving something else, that will be also okay, right? Not because if I think, okay, because I have read in Bhagavad Gita that being a pure devotee, I can reach a stage where I can taste the beauty of Lord. So better I don't focus on that point, just be focused on serving the Lord by chanting his name and hearing his pastime and reading Bhagavad Gita. Will just keeping that focus is enough?
Yes, that's the correct focus. That's the correct focus, because we have to keep our service attitude. You see, Krishna, he's not our servant that we demand and then we say, now I want to taste you. But you correctly said that we just continue with our service attitude of hearing and chanting. That's the correct mood that we should have, the service mood, and then everything will follow with that.
Yeah,
so there are many.
I said it because reaching at that stage only will take how much long time, I even don't know. So better we just keep one focus that, okay, we want to just chant and hear his pastimes. That will be the,
Yes.
I know that can be the ultimate goal, at least during this time of the period.
Yes, so hearing and chanting is always there at our stage also and at the liberated stage also. Hearing and chanting should never be given up. Should never. And then we always have to have that service attitude, that not that I want to enjoy Krishna. No, I have to serve Krishna. Because there are many people who have their vision in Golok Vrindavan, yes, but they can never reach Golok Vrindavan. Why? Because they have the attitude that I'm going to enjoy Krishna. But we are not the enjoyers. Krishna is the enjoyer. We have to serve Krishna humbly and meekly, as you are saying. That's a very correct mood that you have, that we just continue to hear and chant. Leave everything to Krishna. It's his desire. He is the Lord. Let him decide. So that's
Hare
a correct mood.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for that. Hare Krishna. Anybody had anything to add, or any other questions or comments? No, then we can stop here and chant one round of Hare Krishna mantra. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vinde, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for joining in, everyone. Oh, we have a chat. Let me see what's that. I'm not able to connect to the chat somehow. There is a message on the chat.
Yeah, it was the question I asked before.
Oh,
You
okay.
answered it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, good then. So we can stop here then. Hare Krishna.